Hey guys, what's going on? Um, I wanted to make this video now before it becomes too busy for me because it's getting into Christmas now and New Year, and I'm have to go back to Australia. So if I don't make this video now, I'm never gonna make it. I want to make a video about my experience being incarcerated in China. Um, so about a month ago from now. Today is December the 14th, 2018. Between November 11th and November 26th, I was incarcerated in administrative detention here in Shanghai. Let's go back a lot. On the week of Halloween, so late October, I wanted to smoke some weed. That week is also my birthday. It seemed like a good idea, I don't know, to celebrate, just relax, maybe watch some movies or something, right? So, what I did was I looked up message boards. I just typed in Google where to buy weed in Shanghai. The first, the first couple of pages you have to ignore because it's all about how illegal it is and people suggesting that you don't do it. But once you get into the deeper Google pages, you find some message boards, and these message boards will be of people who supposedly have met up with other people to buy weed from. I found one that said to go to such and such street because at such and such time, this guy will be at this street to basically get any kind of drugs that you want. And because this place was kind of near where I live at the moment, I could have just like taken 2 metro lines to go there. I did that. This was about a week before the week that I'm talking about, late October. So let's say this is about mid-October at the moment. I buy the weed, I leave it for a couple of days, and then once it starts hitting Halloween week, it's not much. It was like, I don't know, like a very small kind of Ziploc bag. I couldn't tell you how much, like in terms of grams or anything, but it was not much. It lasted me like a week, basically. Um, so I did that. I smoked some weed that week. Just watched some movies, relaxed. I did my thing. On the 11th of November, so this is about a week and a bit after I smoked the weed. I finished the weed. Um, on the morning of that day at 6 a.m., the cops knocked at my door. So I'm staring when I open the door at two cops. One speaks English, one doesn't speak English. The guy who does speak English said to me, "You need to come with us right now. We need to get some identification on you." This is China. This kind of happens a lot where police will basically, you know, they'll make you open up your door. They'll make you do some things. I've had that done to me before where I've had to make sure that I am the proper person living at this residence, right? So at this point, I'm not too fussed, but I am a little bit weirded out because I've never had to go to a police department to do this before. Um, as I'm driving, as I'm sitting in the chair, I'm frantically texting everybody that I know saying do you know what's going on? Is this normal? And a lot of them are saying, no, it's not normal. You need to make sure that these guys are actually police. You need to find out where exactly are they taking you. So I do that. I talk to the guy who speaks English. He says that we're going to this police department. Basically, you're just gonna have to sit there and wait for a little bit. We're gonna take your passport. We're gonna like look at it a little bit. So I'm sitting in the police department, and they say, if you need to pee, we are going to test it. So at that point, I'm like, oh, okay, they're gonna find out that I smoke weed. Because, weed stays in your body for a long time. It's like oil, it's sticky. It stays in your body for a long time. And I know that if I pee, then it's gonna be tested positive. It's only been a week since I finished this weed. So after maybe an hour or something, I say, okay, I need to pee now. Let's get this done and over and done with. I'm figuring at this point, maybe they'll keep me the whole day and I'll have to pay like a big fine or something, They take the pee, I sit back in the room, another 2 hours passes or something. It's a long, long wait. And these police officers are like doing their own thing, They're not really paying any attention to me. I'm just in this holding room with like one other cop supervising me. So, I'm just on my phone doing my thing. And then soon they get someone from the hospital to come over to cut my hair. And they're going to test this hair as well to be double, to be definitely sure that there's weed in my system. Okay, this is getting a bit much, but okay. At that point, we're waiting another 3 hours or something. It's a long ass wait. They order lunch for me. I think it's not until the evening that it comes back that I'm definitely positive for weed in my system. And at that point, it's like 5 p.m. They say, come with us right now. We're going to the hospital. And what that was for was to get my blood, to get my vital signs, I guess. I have no idea what's going on. I think all of my DNA and all of my, body metrics are with the Chinese state now. So, yeah, once we're done with the hospital and I'm back in the police department, I'm like, am I going to stay here all night or am I going to be free to go today? They say, you're going to have to go to detention. And I'm like, oh shit, okay. I hope it's not like a month or something. I hope it's like a couple of days. To be honest with you, I thought it was going to be like a couple of days. They say, we don't know how long you're going to stay in detention for, because it's totally up to them. It's totally off the top of these cops' heads, the police department that I'm staying at. They can decide that I stay there for 5 days, for 10 days, for 15 days, for 20 days, a month if they wanted to. I'm not even sure what goes into these decisions. So, okay, I have to wait there another 2 hours before they get back to me and say, yeah, you're gonna stay here in this detention for 15 days. All right, let me text everyone. I have to text my boss. I have to text my family. I have to make sure that the Australian consulate knows, It's a big thing, because I'm gonna be totally out. I'm gonna be off the grid for 15 days. They'll take my phone, they'll take my clothes, I won't have anything. So that night I'm taking to this detention facility. In Shanghai, I believe there's 2 detention facilities, one in Puxi, one in Pudong. I was taken to the one in Puxi, which is north of where I'm staying now. It's in a kind of developing part of Shanghai. um, yeah, I'd say Shanghai is most developed in the middle. It's way up north, so lots of construction sites, lots of dirt. It's lots of working class people and stuff in this part of town. I go into this facility. I'm made to strip. I'm made to have a bit of a pat down, make sure I don't bring anything. I'm made to wear these clothes that they provide us with. It's like an orange coat, and it has some numbers on the back. I have one blanket. I have one styrofoam chair. It's like a block like this. This is the only thing I can sit down on, basically. Yeah, some bed sheets. Not even a pillow. And some toilet paper. So I guess those are the only things that I was allowed to bring into my detention facility cell. And in this cell there was two other people. There was a Nigerian guy and a Taiwanese guy. That night, I went to bed. I slept pretty well, to be honest. So, alright, I'll go through the schedule of what it's like every day. At 6 a.m., there's a receiver radio where basically the guards tell us we have to wake up right now. You have to get out of bed, you have to stand up, you have to make your bed really quickly. And the guards are really particular about the way that you have to make your bed. You have to make sure that your blanket is folded in this particular way. There's no creases in your bed sheet. There's, your floor is nice and clean. There's no water. There's no dirt. There's nothing, out of the ordinary for your cell. So you have to do that really quickly when you wake up. And then, I'd say, 7 o'clock, about an hour after we wake up, we're given breakfast, which is, it's white rice with pickled vegetables. Sometimes we'll get also a mantou, which is Chinese steamed bun. And to drink, all you get is this tap in our cell that they refill every day. This tap, it's not connected to like the main Chinese water supply, because if you've stayed in China at all, you'd know that any tap water is basically not potable. It's poisonous to you. So they have to refill this tank that is connected to this tap in our cell. So, for breakfast, you always get just some hot water, basically. You get nothing else. After that, I'd say about 7:30 or 8 o'clock. Depends what kind of mood the guard is in. They'll walk to your room and they'll have an inspection, make sure that your sheets are done the way that they want and that your cell is clean. If they see that the sheets aren't done the way that they want, you're made to undo the sheet, and you have to do it over and over and over again until the guard is happy that you know how to do it, basically. I never had to have that happen to me because, as I say, I was with a Nigerian guy and a Taiwanese guy, and they were really helpful to me to know how to avoid getting the guard's attention, because that's the one thing that you don't want. You don't want to get the guard's attention because they'll do anything to make your life pretty miserable. They'll either not give you water, they'll close the door so that you can't see any sunlight outside for your cell. They'll they'll take away any reading material that you get, because you can they'll give us some newspapers every once in a while, and if they don't like your behavior, they'll take it away, So, you have to make sure that everything's in pristine condition at 8 o'clock. After that, there's lots of waiting in between these times. you have to wait an hour, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock in the morning. 9 o'clock, or I guess 9:30 more like, you're taken out to the mess hall. And in this mess hall, everybody can, sit down and talk to each other. Have to talk really quietly because, again, the guards don't want you to draw attention to yourself. When we're in the mess hall, we watch some movies. So this can be anything from like some really old 1990s Chinese drama to like Hollywood movies. There was a couple of comedies from The Rock that we watched. Oh man, what's that one that was released last year? I can't remember, but it's like The Rock, he's a secret agent, and Chris Hart. Yeah, he's unassuming buddy cop, whatever, in this movie. It's a pretty bad movie, but I think that was maybe the best movie that we watched. Oh, you know what? We did watch this movie called Get Out by Jordan Peele, which I've never seen before, and it was really good. So that was probably the best movie that we watched. Anyway, so we're watching whatever they put on. Oh, they'll also put on sports sometimes. Basketball, soccer, NBA, European football, or Chinese football. Yeah, it really depends what kind of mood the guard is in, whether it's movies or shitty TV shows or sports. Anyway, so we get lunch in the mess hall right at the end of the movie. Lunch is always rice with soup. And with the soup, it can sometimes have meat in it. It almost always has vegetables in it. So I'm a vegetarian, and this to me was probably the hardest part about staying in detention facility. I would take the soup for the first 10 days, right? And I would wait until I would be allowed to go back into the cell room, and then I would pick out all the meat and give it to one of my roommates. And that way I would stay in the good graces of my roommates, and they would like give me something back, whether it's just advice or maybe they were allowed to go to the detention facility shop because they had money on them when they were caught. I had no money on me when I was caught, and they can buy something. Maybe they'll give you some soy milk, after they go to this shop. Yeah, so I'd pick out the meat every day, and I would try to drink the soup, and I would have the rice. After lunchtime, it would be a nap time. Nap would be 12 o'clock to 2:30. So, yeah, at this time, you're not allowed to talk. You just lay on your bed. Yeah, make sure that you don't get the guard's attention again. That's the last thing that you want. After the nap, it's like wake up, stand up, make sure your bed is pristine again. It's another, I guess, yeah, half an hour to an hour, and when we're allowed into the mess hall again. Watch another movie, TV show, sports. An hour and a half. After that, it would be about 4:30, 5 o'clock. That's the time that we get dinner. Again, it's rice with a soup with usually meat in it. Sometimes the soup would be just vegetables, and that was my favorite day. Yeah, most of the time it's meat though, which is shit. And it's a long ass time. It's like another 3 hours after you get dinner until it's bedtime. So in that 3 hours, you're supposed to get the hot water from that one tap, right? That they fill up every day. That's the potable water. And then basically you get a tub, you fill up the tub, and then you get a cup, strip off, and pour the cup over your skin as you're scrubbing yourself with soap. That's your shower every day. At this time also, you could clean some clothes, you could make sure that your room's extra clean. Yeah, do things like this. And then at 9 o'clock, it's bedtime. The worst thing about sleeping in this place is that they never turn off the lights because they're very concerned about security. So this camera would always be running and watching you. And if you cover your face, let's say, as you're sleeping, on the radio, they'll say, uncover your face, you know? You have to do what they say really fast to make sure that they see your whole face as you're sleeping. Oh, that was shit. The sleeping was the worst part, definitely. That and the food. So after about 10 days of this, I got pretty upset. Basically, after lunch, the time we go to the mess hall the first time, we went back, and I saw the meat in my soup and tried to take it all out. Still bits of meat and lard and stuff. I like broke down and cried because I'd never gone this long in my adult life, you know, eating meat, and it was really sickening and really hard for me. At that point, I just vowed no more soup. Unless it's a vegetable soup that day, no more soup at all, because I'm sick of having bits of shit in my soup. For 5 straight days, I would just have rice. And honestly, it was better, you know? I was much happier doing just rice. In the morning, you know, you'd get pickled vegetables, so that's fine. Lunch and dinner, I would always just get rice. What else can I say? So, about a week into it, 7 days into it, I got a call from the Australian consulate, and these guys basically, because my parents and my boss had been contacting the Australian consulate, they were obliged to like check in on me and make sure that, you know, everything's above board, I'm not being abused in this detention facility. They really couldn't do anything. All they could do was like to report back to my friends and family and tell them that I'm still alive and in good spirits. Yeah. What was it like with the people in the detention facility? Okay, so I'd say about half of the people staying there were Chinese and half were foreigners. So for the Chinese people staying there, they usually get like 5 to 10 days for either... One guy was in there for groping a woman on the metro, and the woman complained to a cop. He got 5 days. One guy got into a scuffle, got into a fight. He got 5 days. Who else was there? There was one guy, he had the wrong license to drive a motorcycle. He got 5 days. Oh no, pardon me. He got 10 days. The guy with the bad license for the motorcycle. Yeah, and as I say, the other half were like foreigners. So these foreigners would usually be in there for either... overstaying a visa was the biggest one. 75%, I would say, were there because they were overstaying a visa. And a lot of these guys are from African countries because they come to China looking for better opportunities. They want to stay there for as long as they can, basically. Yeah, and then they get fucked up by the police. Either the police come to their house because they've been watching them for a couple of days. Or they're at a club or something, at a nightclub. It's really a common story for these guys to be at nightclubs. The police have a raid. Everybody's supposed to have their passports on them so that the police check, and then they have a pee test for drugs in their system. And a lot of these guys that don't have documentation also are, have like, anything from weed to meth in their system. There was another guy also, because he was a drug dealer. He was selling cocaine, and one of his customers got caught by the police, and the police told him to like text his dealer. So he got fucked for that. Yeah. Let's go back for a moment and talk about how I was caught. So, at the end of the day, I don't know how I was caught. You might have seen in media and stuff that facial recognition technology is really taking off in China. My theory is that either they see me walking to this deal, or the guy that I bought drugs from, he told the police because he was caught about a couple of his customers. It could have also been that they were watching our WeChat conversations and nobody ratted anybody else out. It might be that. It could be, honestly, like 100 different things. Who knows, you know? There's no way that the police are going to tell you anyway. So yeah, after 15 days, I'm basically let go at 2:45 in the afternoon. And at that point, I meet up with my boss, because he's my contact, and he's actually pretty cool. He used to live in Australia, so he has kind of this mindset about drugs that East Asian people don't have. If you've ever been to Japan or Korea even, they see marijuana as bad as heroin or cocaine, you know? And I guess most people in the West see it as like drinking alcohol. It's not a big deal. So he's like that. We have a bit of a talk about like what had to be done because of my time in incarceration. But mostly he was okay because he was happy that I'm like healthy and safe. I looked really, really bad when I got out because I had just gone 10 days eating prison food and 5 days just eating rice basically. So I was pretty gaunt, and I didn't have any shaving equipment, so I had a beard. I must have looked like a mess, man. Yeah. What else can I talk about? Yeah, I guess since then I've not done any drugs at all. I've had 2 shots of whiskey over a period of like 2 weeks. And I've had caffeine a couple of days. I think at this point I'm pretty done with drugs. I could go without having any alcohol for the rest of my life, even caffeine, you know? I don't have to have that in my life anymore. So, yeah, here I am. That was about a month ago now. And since then, I've really been cooking a lot, making sure that, you know, I have enough nutrients in my body. And yeah, I've been trying to stay positive because I plan to stay in China and learn the language. So, alright, I think I'll finish it there. 29 minutes, alright. Thanks for watching, guys. If you got any more questions also, like maybe leave a comment or something, you know? And maybe I'll make another video answering a couple of those questions. Alright, peace.